There's this idea that we've just got to be able to process change, but it's almost bigger than that. It is about actually digesting and metabolizing change. And you're taking it into the system. It's no longer an event. It's no longer several projects that you're managing on top of the stability of the day to day. It is the way that we're breathing and moving and existing in the world. And we're getting so much information on a regular basis about changes happening across the world, within our industry, in our neighborhood. And so, because of the mass amounts of information that we have access to, and the reality of the change happening so much faster and in so many different areas, we've just got to get better at kind of being a career, athlete, if you will. And so, how do we do that? First, this is a big part of it is really our mindset. So, how are you taking things in? The more that you're kind of standing still and waiting for things to impact you, the more stressful that this is going to be, and the harder it is going to be to take everything in, the fire hose of change that's happening. Instead, I recommend really developing your discipline around an internal locus of control. And it is kind of a fancy way of saying know what you can control and know what you can't. But it's a little bit bigger than that. It is also about that you yourself have a direction that you're headed to, that it's not just how do I survive today, but what is it that I am moving towards? What am I creating in my life? Where am I headed in my career? What do I want to create? What impact do I want to make? You've got to imagine a future before it actually gets here. It also enables your brain to engage with this amount of information and change in a much more strategic way. It's how you decide what you're going to prioritize, what you don't need to listen to. The next one I like to call balancing out your content nutrition. You really got to get particular about what it is that you are ingesting. And that means, what kind of social media are you clicking on? Are you spending time on? Are you hovering on? Because it's teaching the algorithm what to send you. So if you're, doom scrolling or, taking in a lot of information, it feels like everything that you see on social media is stressing you out and scaring you, then you're feeding your system, your nervous system, this constant kind of fear and stress and shock probably to the system. I am not saying put your head in the sand and not pay attention to things, but if it is causing you to have so much anxiety and stress that you're not able to do the things that you want to do and impact the world the way that you want to, then it's no longer helpful. The next one is about building community support so you can go the journey, go the distance, because you need community from a lot of different perspectives. And in this day and age, we're getting more and more isolated because technology makes it easier to connect without actually having to have conversations. But you're going to want to really find the relationships that you want to invest in that not only support you, but actually create an opportunity for you to support them as well. That there is this exchange, taking the time, and it could be hard because we're so busy, but taking the time to really find out how people are doing, to engage with them simply for the sake of spending some quality time, not because oh, I'm networking and I want to see if they can get me into this company. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we have to be upfront about sometimes we are talking to people because we're hoping that they can help us achieve a goal. I think be transparent about that, but also take the time to really just nurture relationships. A lot of times we get caught up in thinking that if it's not tactical, if it's not tied to some immediate outcome, that we're missing or wasting time in some way. But actually nurturing relationships goes beyond what we'll get out of it in our career. It goes into our life, it goes into the quality of our lives, and also just, the memories and the experience that we get to have in our life, in our careers. The last one on this is I'm going to call out strategically partnering with AI. It's going to be a tool that's going to be used in just about everybody's work life. Does that mean it's replacing everybody? I don't think so. Does it mean that it's going to augment the way that we do work? I think absolutely. I'd say, find ways where can it help you? How can you keep an ethical eye on the kind of information that it's sharing with you? Just know that for right now, it's got a healthy bias. So you've got to intentionally engage it to show you opposing views, to share with you perspectives that are diverse from what you're used to seeing. Challenge it and say, does this stand up for different demographics, the information that you're sharing with me, or does it really just match my demographic or the key demographic that tends to get studied in that area or that industry? So, even, as you're looking at news, it's actually a great tool to go, here's the topic at hand that I'm examining or I'm thinking about. Please show me a summary of the opposing views on this. It can actually be a tool to help you make sure that you're looking at things from a really objective standpoint. All of those things can help us metabolize, have the energy for it, prioritizing for it, as well as the clarity about what to take in and what to leave behind. To learn more about metabolizing change, sign up for our free webinar scheduled for February 17th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is going to be hosted by my colleague, Joe Jokowitz. And if for some reason you can't attend, feel free to go ahead and register anyways, and we'll be sure to send you the recording. We'll see you there.